At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. Welcome everybody to Dave Cooper Live, where we connect the leaders in the AEC industry with the people, the products, and the processes helping us all to build it better. And today we take a deep dive with the team transforming the way we manufacture and deliver steel frame construction from hospitality, multifamily, complex high security, and high-rise buildings. Please welcome this team from Stack Modular. But first, as always, we have to thank all of our supporting members and our sponsors. So give them a big thank you. Stream Modular, the only logistics company you need to transport your mods, pods, and panels. Our friends at Stream Modular are investing $50 million over the next 25 years to build the technology, solutions, and trailers needed to handle and transport the projects of today and meet the demands of tomorrow. Reach out to their team at streammodular.com to discuss your next project. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Ready to scale up your offsite construction business? Introducing 4A Constructs, your solution to finding skilled labor for offsite manufacturing. Say goodbye to the headache of recruiting a skilled workforce with hand-selected certified tradesmen that are expertly trained and managed for offsite manufacturing, set crews, and finished crews, ensuring maximum productivity and safety. Unlock the future of skilled workforce development for all of your offsite construction needs. Visit them at 4aconstructs.com. All right. Again, thank you to all of our supporting members out there. We cannot deliver all of these informative conversations without you. So without further ado, let's bring on John Higgins and also Matthew Clayton from Stack Modular. Unfortunately, well, it's kind of fortunate. I mean, if I had a chance to go to the Stanley Cup playoffs, game 7 ever, I would blow off Dave Cooper Live as well. But hey, listen, I think it's great you guys are here. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, Jim's not able to join us today because he's probably drinking beer and tailgating and hopefully having a good time, because that's what I would be doing. Guys, welcome to the Dave Cooper Live show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having us. Let's not give Jim too much grief there. He is a legitimate super fan. He deserves that title, and it's probably a boyhood dream for him to be there. So, go oil.
Hey, my only problem with that is he didn't invite me to come with him. But we'll take that up another time. Otherwise, listen, I think this is great. So, hey, before we jump into this, fellas, like always, we're going to want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we will have your mother on the show. And maybe even Jim will come on at a separate time and really throw you under the bus. But for now, John, let's start with you. And then, Matt, I'll give you your shot too. Take a minute and let us know a little bit about your backgrounds and who you are.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. We'll let Jim give the dirt on myself and Matt down the road, but I'm a Canadian. I was born in Manitoba, so central part of Canada. For those down in the States that don't know where that is, lived in Ontario for a number of years, and then found myself out in Halifax, Nova Scotia for post-secondary school. And that's where I linked up with Bird Construction, one of the 50% owners of Stack Modular. I have a business management degree, and a diploma in construction management. So my origin in the industry is cleaning office trailers in New Brunswick for a family member. And for some reason, I wanted to get into the construction industry after going through that for a couple of summers. So yeah, I started with Bird Construction in 2009. Doing the typical conventional GC work, everything from estimating, project coordination, project management, all the way up to construction management. And then in 2017, when Bird acquired part of Jim's company, I got the tap on the shoulder to move to Ottawa to be part of Bird's new modular team. And then, the rest is kind of history. I've been sucked into the modular industry since then.
Right.
I started working on the Exarnate Hotel in Iqaluit. We successfully delivered that. And then we've delivered a number of other projects up here in Canada and internationally since then.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that, John. I love that you come from the hands-on approach from the floor up, right? Literally sweeping the floors on up, and that's awesome. Matthew, go ahead. Give us your background.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Well, it's been a bit of a journey. I'll date myself, but I'm 53 years old, and I'm happy to say that I'm married with two children living on Vancouver Island, where I was born and raised on the west coast of Canada. And I always thought that I would be chasing a little white golf ball around for my career, but it didn't quite go as planned. But I did go down to the University of Texas in El Paso, and I went on a college golf scholarship when I was 19, and I did graduate from the University of Texas El Paso, where I played golf and turned professional, and tried my hand at pro golf for a couple of years, but realized that my mother's maiden name is Woods, but mine wasn't, and I learned to hit it in the woods, as I tell people. So golf didn't go exactly as planned, and I came back up to Canada and sort of embarked on a journey of entrepreneurial businesses, things that I've owned myself, built myself, worked for companies and worked with companies across a variety of different industries, including things like medical diagnostic testing, beverages, food, electric transportation, marine services, aviation. So I've been very fortunate. I've had a really blessed career, met a lot of really great people, and also had some very strong recent experience running one of the largest general contractors on the west coast of Canada here. I've known Jim for 6 years at Stack and was absolutely mesmerized with what he was doing, and felt it was very disruptive, and decided to come join Jim and John and the team for this journey. So very excited to be here and excited to talk to you today about what we're doing.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, let's hop right into that. I mean, that was a good segue. So, John, let's talk about Stack. Who are you guys? What do you do? Let the world know, like, what is Stack, and who do you love to build with and for?
Yeah, so Jim's been on your show a couple of times, I think. So everyone probably knows he started out in about 2008, and then the acquisition with Bird happened in 2017. At the crux of it, we're a volumetric steel modular manufacturer, delivering projects all over the world. We've gone to Africa, the Philippines, Northern Canada, the United States, not everywhere, but quite a few places. We've really zoned in on the sectors that we like to call them, where we want to work. Hospitality, multifamily, affordable housing. We've done some correctional facilities, workforce accommodation, and long-term care facilities. So we really hone in those 5 or 6 areas. We manufacture in Asia. Like I said, we transport just about anywhere in the world, utilizing break bulk vessels. Generally the markets that work for us are on coastal regions, the west coast of the States, Eastern Canada, United States, and other remote locations around the world. Trying to think if there's anything else that I missed here, Dave.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, that's perfect, and we're going to show some photos from your website, and I got a Google Drive folder with some photos of some of your projects that I'm going to flash through while we're talking a little bit here. Talk to us a little about the type of construction, right? You're doing mid-rise, low-rise, mid-rise, and even getting into the higher-rise construction market. Does Stack only build with cold form steel, or walk us through what your product line is?
Currently, we only manufacture with cold form steel, so non-combustible materials. Projects that we've delivered, the tallest we've done is 5 stories, but we currently have 2 projects in pre-construction that are 11 and 12 stories in Vancouver.
Okay.
We're hoping to start fabrication on those projects this fall or early next year. They're affordable housing projects in Canada. And then we're working on a fairly significant project in California. It's approximately 400,000 square feet of modules, about 600 units. And again, similar to the towers, we're looking to start those in the near future.
And so your manufacturing facility, let's talk about, because you have several locations, right? I'm assuming it's design centers, sales centers, engineering, right? You guys are all over the world, but you're manufacturing where?
It's just outside of Shanghai in China. Yep. It's about a 2-hour drive. We manufacture primarily out of 3 facilities. One's our steel fabrication facility, and then the other 2 facilities are fit out locations. They're all certified to the codes and standards for wherever we're manufacturing. So if it's Canada, CWB. If it's American, it's AWS, or whatever the other requirements might be for where we're building.
Sure. Guys, Matthew, if you want to jump in, feel free to jump in as well. But let's talk a little bit about the tech that Stack is using. Where we are currently, what are you designing with? And, who do you like to work with? And do you work with outside engineers and architects? But walk us through what is the tech stack and tell us a little bit about the process of how one would do business with Stack.
Yeah, so on the design front, we do all of our own in-house drafting for our fabrication drawings, but generally on all of our projects we are working with outside firms, so architects, code consultants, building envelope, structural MEPF, all those good things. We do take the drawings from 0 to 100 so that we can fabricate them in the facility, and we're working with those design consultants to help us get them there. I'm not on the technical side of what we're doing with the modeling and whatnot, but we do build in a model, BIM, it's a 3-dimensional, and we're using that to output various design items, whether it's into our ERP system for our bill of materials, or if that's going into our submittal program, or back to the factory floor where they're cutting steel for, say, our light gauge steel walls and our floor assemblies.
So you guys offer a full suite of services, right? Can you walk us through design, engineering, logistics, set installation? Tell us, do you take everything from start to finish, or is there a handoff somewhere?
I'd say here in Canada, we have that turnkey solution with Bird. And then in the United States, we work with select GCs that understand what we're trying to do. So it's a bit of not a partnership, but a working agreement where we help the client sometimes select a general contractor, and we take them from A to Z, like you said, whether it's the design, the transportation, the setting, and then the complexing on site. In Canada, obviously, with the Bird partnership, it's A to Z right out of the box, which is great. And then internationally, depending on who we're working for, we're right there to help them, walk them through the design process, the site component, and the handover portion.
And the handover portion. Perfect. And you guys said you are working all over the place. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about some of the current projects, award-winning buildings in the mix, things of that nature?
Yeah, so a lot going on these days at Stack. Very busy, call it, coming out of the last couple of years after the pandemic. We're really excited about the towers in Vancouver. Unfortunately, the projects that we've done are generally in remote locations, and they're difficult to get. You know, people like you, Dave, we'd love to have you at some of our projects, but they're so remote. It's very difficult to get you there. It's difficult to take clients and, you know, industry experts there. So the projects in Vancouver we're really excited about. We're going to document the heck out of them. We're going to market them. And hopefully, you know, when we go to the World of Modular and these other events and maybe your show, we can talk about all the good things that we did on them and why modular works. So those are 2 in Vancouver. The big one in California, super excited about it. It's call it a mid-rise. It's 7 stories, 6 to 7 stories. You know, massive project for us, massive project for the developer. The GC that we're working with gets it. We work with them now for about a year on the budgeting, the design. They've really bought into the process, and they're listening to us as industry experts, which we don't necessarily see all the time. So it's been a great relationship, and we're hoping it's the first of many with that general contractor and that developer.
You know, Matt, you know, I start listening to John talk about these remote locations and hard to get to places. And my mind automatically goes from, all right, well, it always looks good on paper and works in the office, and then you got to get it somewhere. And by the way, John, I am very helicopter friendly anywhere we need to go. I'm more than happy to do that anywhere in the world. But hey, Matt, let's get into the project management side of some of this. This is where your background is from. Talk to us a little bit about how your out of industry experience is kind of coming into this industry and the problems you're solving.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we're sure using the word disruption a lot, aren't we? You know,
We are.
and I find that really interesting because you can take the word disruption and it sometimes can sound negative, right? It can also put people on their heels, and it can make people feel like what they do for a living or what they have done for many, many years, you know, maybe it's threatened and you know, it's under attack, you know. So we can use the Netflix to the Blockbuster and the Ubers to the cabs, and we can do all of that. And it's real. And I think everything that is around us has been disrupted or is in some sort of state of disruption. We're seeing that with AI and all the different learning tools that are coming out. I mean, it's really a fascinating time. I mean, I think right now, what I'm seeing and coming from other industries is that there is so much pressure now globally, and let's look at North America in general. What are the 2 or 3 topics every day that we see in the front of a newspaper, front of the internet, on a newscast? We're talking about the environment, and we're talking about a housing crisis, right? I mean, it's never not a topic. So for me, I think one of the reasons that I'm just so fascinated by this is other countries and other jurisdictions have grabbed offsite, they have grabbed modular, they have grabbed that concept and made it their own, and they're using it to their benefit in many, many different ways. Is North America behind? I think it's fair to say I think we are. I think we are lagging behind where other countries have made a real go of this and are getting great results. So when I look at our housing crisis, the reason why and why I get some excitement and optimism is I think we have come to a breaking point. I truly believe that government officials and people who are drawing up municipal, provincial, state laws realize that the goals and targets that we have set are not obtainable unless we shift and shift quickly. Now, how fast that happens, I don't know, but I am seeing a shift in Canada where we have been for a long time bogged down in bureaucracy, and we have been bogged down in ways that have really hampered our ability to build quickly and to build at scale. So I do feel that we've hit that point in North America where we have put ourselves into a position where we have to start thinking outside of the box, and that offsite will become, and modular will become one of those solutions. We are not a solution for everything, but we need to be taken seriously. And I think that's starting to happen now with conversations that I'm seeing at all different levels.
It is starting to happen. And so, all right, listen up, everybody out there, because this is important. The ICC, the International Code Council, has recently partnered with Dave Cooper Live for their annual event that they hold for their inspectors across the country. It's going to be happening in October this year in California. More details to follow. But guess what? They want us to bring the industry leaders to them so we can talk and have real conversations, not just with the people at the top of the food chain at the ICC, but also the local inspectors that will be attending this event and getting their additional training and all that. So to add on to what you're saying, Matthew, you're absolutely right. I think the world's starting to listen. They're starting to see what's going on. The government is starting to listen to this stuff, and we're super proud to have some sort of part and hopefully bring in yourself and Jim and all the other leaders in this industry to the table to talk about the real problems and how we solve them, because it's not easy.
No, it's not. And Dave, I think you nailed something there. I mean, and John and I talk about this with other vice presidents and Jim and our organization in general, that we really have to amp up our education pieces
Right.
for people. This is really about educating multiple levels of different groups who all have different levels of knowledge. Not everyone truly understands offsite construction and modular. And if you ask, I always say, I'll ask my mom, I'll ask my dad, I'll ask my friend, and I'll ask a colleague, and I'll get 4 different answers from highly educated people who, pride themselves in understanding things. But
Yeah.
you realize the disconnect that's there, and we're really going to start to push harder with those pieces ourselves of educating our clients and educating the people we work with, especially a lot of the general contractors and GCs. And as I came from running one of them, I can tell you there's a massive disconnect about how we all could fit together.
Right.
We use that word vertical integration so much, but really, are we integrated? I see it fragmented greatly, and we have to change that. If we do not pull the whole system together, it will continue to cause us problems, as we've seen.
100%. I agree with you on that. And I think that's a whole nother topic for our show. But we have too many. We're, as an industry, we're fragmented because we separated ourselves into modular panel components, and we're not having a singular voice to help drive a message forward. And that's what we're missing, is that singular voice, because we're all in the same field. Just because you're building modular doesn't mean you're not a panelized builder, because you are, right? So depending on how we look at it. So, Matthew, and then I'm going to go back to John here in a second as well. Why should other GCs consider modular moving forward? I mean, hey, listen, Bird is a big company, right? Publicly traded, I believe. And they are embracing this technology. And we all know, hey, building things, right? We're in it to get things done fast, save ourselves time, save ourselves money, heads on beds, all the other things, give somebody a great place to live or stay, but also make a profit. So why don't you tell us what your thoughts is on why should GCs get into this?
Well, Dave, I think I want to reverse it just a little bit on you. Why haven't so many GCs got involved, right? I look at that intrigues me. And I think that because, I'll use the North American market, there has been such an insatiable demand for construction that if you're a construction company, you've been busy. There is a very good chance you've been very busy with your projects of all different types of nature. And I think that a lot of the construction companies that I worked with and were friends with on all different levels, I think what I saw was a bit of complacency. Why change? What we've been doing this for 100 years. Why would we do it any different? And I get that. And I think as I stepped into that circle, I ruffled a few feathers saying, it's great what we do, but innovation is, in my opinion, critical for survival. And I think that the GCs have to start to understand that we are in a shifting environment. This doesn't mean that it's going to replace the way they do business each and every day. It becomes a bolt-on. It's another tool in the toolbox to bring forward to your clients. And why not is what I've said to many of them. Why not? And I think that's shifting now. I really do. Like you said, we're not one size fits all. We're not going to be perfect for every project, but we make a lot of sense for a lot of projects. And what I've been trying to talk to some of the GCs about is, this doesn't take away from your basket of goods.
Right.
You still have your basket of goods, you still have your volume, you have your workforce. You're just building differently and can build more. Maybe you can build quicker. I have considerable experience in the state of Hawaii, which we are looking at very closely right now. And it's a very tough construction environment, very challenging, right? From location, supply chain, labor costs, everything. And really taking a look at how they've been building in Hawaii for generations. And they are now beyond a crisis of what they need for affordable housing, healthcare. And the governor of Hawaii has mandated we have to get moving. And I think it's a great time. It's a great time right now because, as I said earlier, people are saying we've got to start thinking outside the box and changing our business model. While it may feel awkward, is probably the best thing we can do for the next generation of workforce and workers and ownership in those companies.
Yeah, I agree with that. John, let's talk about industry trends driving adoption of industrialized construction. I mean, what do you see that's driving it? And if I were to say, hey, John, what's happening out there in the world of offsite construction that makes you go, wow, this may be a hard time. So more people should embrace modular construction because of what? Why? Why should more people embrace it? And what is driving this trend?
I mean, it's probably a boring answer, but it's probably the truth. It's, lack of skilled labor. Labor's getting very expensive. There's not as many people going in the trades. They're harder to get. The good ones are harder to find. And it's just not that productive. I don't have the stats, but we were showcasing one of our show suites in Vancouver last week, and part of the presentation was talking about the productivity in the construction industry in Canada over the last, I think, 60 years. And it's not steadily declined, but it's declined, since the 60s or 70s, which is pretty sad considering where we are with technology and everything that we can, we have access to in the construction industry. But I really believe it's the lack of skilled trades, the price of materials, call it the overnight escalation with prices of materials going up. What seems like overnight, ever since, the pandemic, it seems like it's plus. And, manufacturing with an offsite manufacturer, we can lock in some of those costs earlier and help clients hedge the risk a little bit.
Dave, I'd also add to that, what's really interesting from the developer's standpoint, the developer world is, let's just be real, we got fat on cheap money for a long time.
Right.
And even the most difficult projects or projects with complications can be modeled out with capital at these rates. Those days are gone, and projects have to make sense. And that's an easy word for saying as we look at the performance of these projects. If they aren't tight, they are running into issues, and cost of capital is everything. So when we're talking to groups now, what we've been doing is having them look at a couple of different components of how they are modeling out their projects, one being schedule. And if with our project on the steel modular side, if we can show price parity with on a site build, let's say, but we can show a 35% reduction potentially in schedule, which we know with efficiencies and good uniformity at site with the GC, this can happen. What is that cost savings, that head in the bed, that rental suite that's open up, that long-term care bed that they can get a patient into? This is very important. And as John said, with labor issues, and everything that we are truly facing, we are not seeing, this is for another show, but we both know, Dave and John, that we are not seeing the workforce come behind this aging construction population right now. This is a problem and is going to hit us. And when it does hit us at that inflection point, it's going to be now what? And they're going to put their hands up, as we're seeing with the government already now. So, I really do think that what we can offer on the schedule side is something that a lot of the developers and government have to take very seriously. And it's sort of an impetus for a lot of the discussions we're having now. How fast can we get to market? We're hearing that more than what's your per square foot cost. Cost will always matter. We understand that. But schedule is what is where we belong and what we know we can do for these projects.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real value, right, of offsite and modular is speed to market. If you were to sum everything else up, speed to market's probably one of the number one things that we can do, and cost certainty is, up there with it. Those are the two big drivers and differences that I'm seeing. And hey, listen, anytime like skilled labor shortage, all of these things that you've mentioned, um, unless times get hard, unless times, get challenging, the industries don't change, right? We're in last place when it comes to new technology. And I mean, all of the things that we're using now that everybody's going, oh, digital twins or hey, AI or just whatever, it's been already being used in every other business around the world at a super high level. We just haven't been kicked in the butt, enough yet to have to make a change, but it's starting to happen. So there's good that comes out of it, right? Especially for our industry. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, you guys are on mute, so don't forget that. All right, so when we look at other industries, Matt, that are disruptive or transformative in business, that you've personally been in, where do you see industrialized construction right now? And John, you can jump on this as well. Are we still in our infancy? Are we gaining momentum? I mean, is it close to full adoption? Where are we? And I'm going to play one of your videos in the background while we talk about this. Sound good?
Yeah, sure thing. John and I can ham and egg this together. We both have probably our own thoughts, but I think we're probably pretty congruent. I mean, my personal feeling is that we are still early stages.
Yep.
I mean, for people who have been in the industry for a very long time, that's hard to stomach too, because they've probably lived through just so many of the frustrations and, trying to push the noodle up the hill, or whatever analogy you want to use, where two steps forward, one step back, it can be very challenging to keep your momentum and to keep your energy levels high and keep your enthusiasm high. So I totally get that. But I think we are early, but I think we are seeing a shift. I believe that it's got to happen from all corners, though. It can't just be modular fabricators, manufacturers, and technologies just screaming from the megaphone. It needs to be collective. And I think if it's collective, I think the impact will be greater and it will move this conversation faster and faster. I think that the market does some of its marketing for us. We have housing issues throughout North America and globally. This is not just a North American thing. We have issues that have to be solved. And I keep coming back to that because eventually the conversations elevate to a point where we see lawmakers and others move off their mark, move off their rear end. Unions also say, you know what, we need to get behind this. This is important. This is important. This is our livelihood. Let's understand this greater. So I think it is early, mate, and I really do believe that the next 5 years especially is going to be, I think, transformative. I really do.
Are you seeing unions starting to embrace this technology now?
I am seeing unions open to conversations about understanding what offsite means,
Yeah.
and this education piece, right? Where I have been in those rooms where I have been told, you're stealing our jobs, and I just let those words land and give people the respect and the space they need to voice their concerns and why, and to take it from a very non-aggressive standpoint. I don't think there's anything that's ever won that way. It's really saying, would you be open to learning about what we do and why we do it and how we could work together just to build more and to build quicker? And modular, mods don't just land at site and erect themselves and connect, and foundations don't get built, and cladding doesn't happen, and roofing doesn't. This all needs human beings and people. And I'm finding even at what I found at the GC level was there was some really misunderstandings about general modular construction. So, I would really like to see us, and we are doing that now, having more and more of those conversations, Dave, with unions, and to help them get there, so that this isn't something that is this big elephant in the room. I don't think it needs to be. It truly doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. Education and training, how do you teach old dogs new tricks, as they say? How do we do that? Because there is no real industry training out there. We're all kind of doing it ourselves. and John, jump on this as well if if you have some thoughts. But what do we do? Like, it seems like we're still in this evolving. We're all going to come up with our own training opportunities, and but how do we get the word out there? We're trying to do our best here in Dave Cooper Live, and that's our goal. But I mean, it's gonna take masses of people like Dave Cooper Live to really make a dent in this.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I actually moved from Bird Construction to Stack, is to take my experience as a project manager on modular projects and help kind of spread the word. Whether that's working with the massive company that is Bird, trying to drum up work across the country, or with general contractors in the United States or internationally, just using my experience and that we're demystifying what we're trying to do. Everything from how we need to design, why we need to make certain decisions early, why we need certain trades involved earlier, just demystifying and educating so that people understand how we can make it work. Because if you don't follow the program, it's not going to work. The owner's not going to see the schedule savings. They're not going to save money. The project could end up being a disaster if you're not following a program. So getting out there, trying to tell our story, promote our competitors telling positive stories about their projects, just boosting the industry and getting the word out there about all the successful projects.
That's great. So here I'm gonna throw a curveball into this, right? And it's not really a curveball, and I don't want to name names or do anything like that. But as this industry is growing, there's a whole lot of new experts all of a sudden that haven't built a darn thing in their entire lives out there, right? That are trying to put together knowledge, sell knowledge, and is it hurting us? Is it not enough of it? I mean, because I'm seeing it from my end. I'm like, where did you come from? And so it's a little bit concerning, because modular and offsite construction, unless you have some hands-on experience and truly understand it, because it seems as simple as snapping Legos together, but there's a lot of complexity to it. And I have over 1,600 builds myself. That's what we've done for 20 plus years before this show. It scares the bejesus out of me that so many people are all of a sudden experts and haven't built a damn thing.
Well, Dave, one thing I think that we can take away from the conversation is there should be great hope, because we've seen this adopted in other countries and other jurisdictions successfully. So it tells us that it is possible. And that is what gives me hope, understanding some of the things that have happened in Asia and parts of Europe and other parts of the world where this has successfully been brought to market and is what considered, I guess you'd say, how they build, or part of the breadbasket of how they build collectively in their market. So it can be done. Listen, I mean, one of the things that I respect so much about Stack and Jim is that Jim just put his head down. Jim figured out his technology, his manufacturing, his systems, his process. Jim started building things, making things, and delivering projects. What Jim and I talked about, many years ago when I met him was, hey man, you need to tell your story. Like you need to tell this story from the top of the tower. And I knew there was an apprehension from Jim, and I've seen this apprehension from others where they don't feel comfortable telling their story because it looks promotional, or it looks too promotional, or why would I need to do that, right? And it's this understanding of marketing and communications and sometimes the differences. But ultimately, the companies that are doing great things on the ground, that are doing wonderful projects, they need to do a better job of showcasing those projects, because the other side of it is like some of the companies entering the space who have never built anything are only good at one thing, and that seems to be their marketing platforms, hiring very smart people, have good solid budgets, have raised capital, and out marketing who they are, what they do. But if you looked at their resume of projects, they're literally non-existent. This is scary to me, right? Especially if they're looking to become publicly traded, if they're looking to do acquisitions and raise large amounts of capital, they have to be tremendous marketers. And we're seeing this. And I've never I'm not saying never, but I don't know if I've experienced something to this degree before. It would be like Dave Cooper says, Matt, restaurants are tough. They all fail, right? I'd say, Dave, that's interesting. I mean, restaurants fail. A lot of restaurants succeed and do very, very well. And I guess what I'm saying is that some of the failures of modular before us that have happened have been very strongly highlighted and continue to get highlighted of look, another failure. And that's really tough to wear that badge, at shows and with the media. It's one of the first questions. Well, what about this company that failed? And why did this company fail? And why are you any different? And, that makes it even equally more important to get really good at our communication strategies, right, really good at our education, and not be afraid to market what we do. Every industry has to market. Why are we not marketing this stronger? We need to be. We absolutely need to be until we've hit some sort of critical mass where it starts to take shape and go. So that's one thing I'm trying to do to help Jim. I'm not on the technical side of John and some of our other VPs and groups that I work with. But what I want to do is help get the messaging out there to start to move the needle in the right direction.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Well, we're just about out of time here, gentlemen. Is there, and we're going to do a couple quick comments that are in the audience, but is there anything that I missed or that you both want to make sure that we let the world know about Stack and Bird that we haven't covered?
John, anything on your side?
I'm not that good. Come on.
Yeah, maybe doubling down on what Matt said. I think we've been, maybe pay attention to our socials in the coming months. I think Matt's going to really help us tell our story and shout it from the rooftop, because we've been really bad. We've been really poor at that, about telling our success stories. So, I don't like getting in front of the camera and stuff, but I'm happy to do a little blog post for Matt and talk about some of the wonderful things that we're doing and we have coming. So, I think there's a lot of great things coming at Bird and Stack, more specifically Stack in the States in the coming months. So pay attention.
Perfect. Let's go to a couple comments here real quick. Just put them on the screen, and you can LinkedIn user. Sorry, I don't know who you are, but have to jet for a Zoom, but keep it up, Stack. Jonathan Higgins and Jim Dunn. We got Joel Hutchins. Good afternoon, Dave Cooper and Jennifer Cooper. Well, good afternoon to you, Joel. Now that's a smart cat right there. If you don't know him, you should. Everybody should know Joel Hutchins. I wish I had a head of hair like that, guys. DC Live. Oh, Greg Ugaldi. Greg is the past chair of the National Association of Home Builders and the guy that still updates the president and secretary of housing. So he says, great job highlighting Stack Modular and Jim, John, and Matthew's effort. Go Oilers. Love it. Steve Dubin. Here's a guy, if you're not following, you should follow. He's making some big moves in the social media space, but he also has awesome products. Good morning from the Sacramento airport. Good morning. Hey, Russ Willis, good to see you. Guess what? Russ is in the cold form steel world as well. He's working with, what is it? I'm Jim Gabriel and Mod Logic, and then they have their new division in Ohio that's doing cold form steel. Good to see you, Russ. Jim's going to kill me. I couldn't remember the name off the top of my head. Good day to all from Calgary, says Timothy Ryan. Here we go. You guys ready for a book? I always get a book with Henry Mickelberg. He says, the last Chinese modular factory, quote, I rejected cost plan schedule specification for a proper volumetric project was in 2018. Perhaps I displayed a remarkable lack of faith, but the lack of clarity of what the hell are we getting was too risky for me. I know that CIMC have done something to address the satisfaction of Citizen M. So how do you manage the void?
Yeah, I can take that one, Matt. It's probably a one-on-one conversation with yourself and our team to talk about it, educating you on what plant certifications we have, how we manage the plant, what our quality program looks like, and all of our certifications. Again, it's probably back to that demystification and education piece. It's I think you need some time to Stack, and we can really show you what we can do and what we can deliver.
And Dave, I'd like to just quickly add on to that for 15 seconds here. I just returned from Shanghai with the team. We did an amazing offsite retreat that Jim puts on every year. And I have been to China before on the medical diagnostic front. I was doing some manufacturing of antibody and antigen rapid assays over there about 15 years ago. And I'll tell you, I was completely taken aback by China in general, how much it's changed, how much it's advanced, our facilities, the people, the quality, the process, everything was just, it really blew my mind. And as Jim says, you've got to be there to understand it. You can't do it from a boardroom in Nashville and say, you know, this is enough now. I get it. I get it. And Jeff Baker, one of our VPs, has a great quote. You know, we have never lost a client who has come visited us in China and gone through our facilities. And I think it takes that, because there is so many misconceptions about Asia and why we use the supply chain there and why we're using the facilities there and why we do what we do there. So I understand the gentleman's question. It's absolutely fair. But we're very proud of what we're doing over there, and we truly have a global team.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks everybody for your comments out there, and hopefully we got to most of them. I am heading back to Laos in South Korea in a few weeks, and my last trip I had a layover at the Shanghai airport. Next time, maybe I need to make that layover a little bit longer and come visit you guys here in a few weeks. I'd love to do that if you'll have me. But we are out of time. So thank you so much to both of you coming on and doing this. Who are we rooting for in the Stanley Cup? I know who I'm rooting for, but your side of the world, who are you guys rooting for? Come on.
You have to go for the Canadian team, I guess, the Oilers.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm with you. Florida shouldn't even be playing hockey. It doesn't make any sense to me. No offense to all you Florida folks out there. It's a good team.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great game. It
is going to be a great game. And what a comeback, you know, holy mackerel. So hopefully we have a comeback like that in offsite construction. It is possible. All right, you two don't go anywhere. I will come back to you after the outro. But for the rest of you, hey, make sure you thank all of these supporting members as well, because we can't have awesome conversations like this without them. I'm Dave Cooper. We'll see you Wednesday. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.